The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View
$13 as at the 1st of May 2026. I would ask that you start marshalling. We'll enter the ring in the far corner down the bottom near the members stand. Ring number 2 is going to start off with Class 2, 14 to 15 years of age. We're going to enter through the bottom near the chute. If you could please start marshalling. The 2 other classes, 18 to 24 and 16 to 17, you're not in the ring first, so you are able to take a break.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolangatta
at a time, and they'll pick out their top 3 or 4, and then we'll take the next lot in, and then they'll come back again against one another. And then, of course, once we get our age groups sorted out, the winners of those will come back to parade for the champion young parader. Sounds like a few head are a little bit lonely for their mates, or either that or they haven't been fed this morning, one or the other. Our judges officiating here today in ring 1, Casey Phillips from the Murgona Santa Gertruda stud from Taroom. Very successful operation there, running a stud breeding herd and a commercial herd. In the number 2 ring, it's Kim Groner, a co-principal of Elite Cattle Company, a seed stock operation based at Meandara, producing black Simmental and Sim Angus cattle over the last 12 years, and a Charolais herd being the main focus prior to that. All right, our judge from ring 1, Casey Phillips, would like to say a few words in introduction of her class.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be invited here today to judge the junior parading class. I feel like to have your opinion sought by anybody, let alone a Royal Show Society, is indeed an honour. And I'd like to remind everybody that that is what is happening here today. This is my opinion. There are certainly different styles of parading, and I'm looking for somebody here today who parades like I like, and somebody that I'd be proud to have leading my animals. So please don't be disheartened, and please don't change your style. Do what feels true to you. Tomorrow, the outcome could be very different than what it is today. So stay true to you. Listen to what the other judges have to say as well as myself, please. So you might pick up something along the way. But yes, don't be disheartened. I'm very pleased with the ability of this first heat here. Probably shocked actually at how wonderfully everybody's done, how calm everybody stayed when that bull got off. You all did a wonderful job of keeping your animals calm. Shout out to the young lady who tried to assist to catch that bull, and also to the young lady who stayed calm after, unfortunately, letting go of her animal. She was very close to making this top line here, and just keep up the good work, darling. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a good afternoon, and I would look forward to seeing this front line again later and commenting more specifically. I just don't want to give anybody an advantage by commenting too specifically on this heat here now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Casey. for her preliminary comments now, our judge in ring 2, Kim Groner.
Thank you, Keith. Look, I likewise like commenting on all the heats that we have before us out here today. Before we get to the championship, I realise that we're not placing these kids, and they've absolutely been pulled up in no particular order, even though I did pull them up at different times. But I certainly like everyone to come away with a few different tips and tricks that I believe are important in the Paraders ring. I would like just to start this class by certainly thanking the RNA for the invitation to judge here today. This is a competition that's very, very close to my heart. I didn't, on a personal note, grow up from a stud cattle operation. I started doing these Paraders and junior events when I was about 10 years old, and just fell in love with the stud cattle industry and met some tremendous contacts over the years. I do know what it's like to be out here. I do know the butterflies that you're probably feeling, and the work that's gone into getting these animals out here, both by the kids, by the studs, by the teachers, the parents. So thank you all for making the effort to come out here today and hopefully do your best and have a lot of fun. The Paraders that I pulled up in this top line today, look, there was a few, probably I could have also dragged from those lower lines, but we did have to pick out what I thought were the top Paraders. All 5 of these out here, they walked their animals around the ring with ease. I really felt that these Paraders had a connection with all their animals. It didn't look like they were struggling to either pull them or stop them. They all really glided well, which I think is very, very important when you're showing an animal off. You certainly don't want to detract from the animal. You want the judge to be looking at the animal and making sure you're seeing them in the best light possible. You all kept an eye on me as you walked around the ring. You listened to instructions. Every time I looked across, that animal was standing up really nicely, well profiled. There was a couple of people out here as well. I noticed when I moved to the other side that you actually swap those feet over. We know that animals probably look best balanced and profiled, and I really admired those Paraders that made the extra effort to concentrate on where I was and actually swap those feet over. Again, congratulations to everyone else that's come out in the line today. Maybe a few tips and tricks in regards to making sure you keep an eye on me, make sure that I can see your animals at all times. If you don't think I've got the best vantage point of your animal and you're a bit squashed in, just give yourself a bit of room and get yourself repositioned. Again, some useful tips and tricks from a few other people with using the cane and using the halter to stand those animals up a little bit more effectively is also something that perhaps a few people could take away. But again, look, a tremendous lineup out here. Some very, very experienced Paraders. They're only 14 and 15 years old, and I'm really admiring the talent that we've got out here so far. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, Kim. Apparently they're having a little bit of trouble hearing us down the back, I'm told, but I think we've got the volume up as far as we can get it, otherwise we'll get feedback on the microphone, on the radio mic. So I think we've got the volume up about as far as we can get it. Now for some comments on this heat of the 13 years and under, our judge again, Casey Phillips.
The animals in this second heat were certainly being a bit restless and challenging their paraders, which is what's left some of the good young paraders down in the back line. Just be very aware of where your animal is and where the judge is. Your job is to show off your animal to the best of its ability. So if I can't see that animal because you've got hemmed in, I'm not able to judge it and I will overlook it. So yes, be very aware of where you are, both when you're circling and where you're lined up. Make sure there's plenty of room to view your animal. The people in the front line, I was able to see their animal at all times. They've handled it well. They're all happy to be out here and they've kept their eye on me, which is what's got them up into the front line here today. I'll comment further later. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Kim, you've got some comments now in ring 2.
Thank you very, very much. And again, a really, really difficult heat. I just can't believe the experience and the skill of these young kids that are out here today. I still am thinking they're a lot older than they are. So congratulations to everyone that's been out here. Look, again, it's really difficult to pull out that top line. I've ended up with paraders that for the most part, this was an incredibly strong class, and all these paraders in the top line were incredibly even and very, very skilled. They all were watching me the entire time that they both walked around the ring and when they were standing those animals up. All 5 of these young paraders had these animals standing up near spot on every time I looked at them. They were cool, calm and collectors. They handled their leads really, really appropriately. They didn't overuse the cane or the halter. I would like to comment to some of the other kids that didn't make it up to the top line. Sometimes near enough is good enough in regards to standing up your animal. Remember, at the end of the day, the judge does want to view the animal. So if I'm casting an eye of you or coming over for a look, sometimes just stop, let the animal relax, let me have a good look, and then collect yourself and try again. But certainly a very, very strong class, and congratulations to everyone, whether or not you've made it through to the finals or you're standing a bit further back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. Now, we've just run into a little bit of a problem, ladies and gentlemen. The JBS truck, which is coming in to set up for doing their demonstration breakdowns and so on, we can't fit it in under the marshalling yard area there. It's too high, so we've got to bring it down through that alleyway beside Machinery Hill. So we'll be bringing a big truck down. We'll be bringing a big truck down that alleyway there beside Machinery Hill, so we'll need plenty of room cleared there to allow that to come through. We'll try and get some security to come down in front of it. Just a little bit was always a hiccup or two when you're doing this sort of thing. Organised chaos. Now, I just see a couple of emissaries going up there through that alleyway to try and make a bit of room to bring that truck down. So just be aware there will be a truck coming down that alleyway beside Machinery Hill. Right, now this is the final heat, the last heat for the 13 and under. So if you're 13 and under and you haven't been into the ring, you better come in straight away, otherwise you'll miss out. This is the last heat. for the 13 years and under group in ring 1. Right. Okay, once we get to the final of this 14 to 15 year age group and we get them into the ring, that's when we'll try and bring that truck down. You put it somewhere safe, Candice, I know. Right, this young paraders competition is very generously sponsored by Suncorp, and of course they've got their Suncorp hospitality marquee just over here behind the tent that I'm sitting in. The Suncorp hospitality marquee. There's coffee and tea and homemade baked treats available over there for a cash or FPOS donation, which goes to benefit the Toowoomba Hospitals Foundation, so don't forget to drop in at the Suncorp marquee. Plenty of other things, I think. AgForce have got a tent here on the grounds. Here we go. Thank you very much, Candice. She had it safely hidden away. AgForce have got a marquee here in the main arena right throughout Beef Week with activities there for their kids, badge making, careers, information and more. So make sure you drop in to see AgForce, tremendous supporters of the agricultural sector and spokesperson for them. If you're looking for a feed, there's plenty of spaces open again today. On Machinery Hill, there's the 4X Stockman's Bar and Grill, the Woolworths Steak Bar. Everything right? Somebody calling out. I thought I might have been making too much noise. Woolworths Steak Bar and the Railway Cafe on Machinery Hill, on the Machinery Hill, and also the Dairy King Soft Serve. There's also hot donuts and coffee open on level 1 of the large animal pavilion. And, of course, King Street also offers lots of tasty options for you to try. Stock Live, we're very pleased to have Stock Live here, and they're proud to be supporting the ECA, bringing the 2026 ECA Beef Week cattle events live to screens right across the country. They're filming every ring, every breed and every day, so to tune in to what's going on here at the exhibition. If you're not here, tell the people who aren't here to tune in to stocklive.com.au. And I think seems like we've got an escapee. A reminder to everyone this evening who will be attending the Paddock to Plate or Paddock to Pallet and Beef Industry Dinner. The event kicks off in the Royal International Convention Centre from 6 p.m. tonight. That's the Paddock to Pallet and Beef Industry Dinner. And we'd like to thank our Ekka Beef Week sponsors, Grand Champion partners, JBS, Champion partners, AAM Group, Suncorp Bank, and our major partners, Kubota, and our other supporters, AgForce, Elders, Woolworths, Queensland Country Life, and Somerville House. Our judge again in the 13 years and underage group, Casey Phillips.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the final heat in this under 13 and under class, and it hasn't got any easier. I'd encourage everybody who didn't make the finals to stay around and watch and listen to my comments on the last class. I know it's been a long day, but if you could, I'd really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll be able to teach you something. Congratulations to those who have made the final, and I look forward to watching you again.
Thank you, Casey. Have a drink of water. Now, we had a young lady who got knocked down here before, and she was asking for some ice to help her. We've got the St John's ambulance here, but now we can't find the lady who wanted some ice to help her with her injuries. Right, for some comments now on this heat, our judge again, Kim Groner.
Thank you. Getting down to the last couple of heats in this age group, we had probably a little bit of variation in terms of experience in their class, but nonetheless, certainly some very experienced paraders came out here in the top lineup. Congratulations to them. All four of these young paraders did a magnificent job in leading that animal out, really flowing with their animal, looking nice and balanced, and certainly not detracting with how the animal looks by overdoing their parading skills. They did a good job of holding those halter leads and nose leads correctly, always looking at me, and were standing their animals up nearly perfect every time. Just a couple of tips for the paraders that stand a little bit further back in this class in particular. A couple I would suggest to maybe work on how you hold those leads. I think there was a few nose dogs or nose rings that maybe were getting a little bit too much pressure put on them. I certainly advocate for using them when needed. Some animals are a little bit slower, or you need to steady them up a little bit, but certainly we don't want to be putting too much pressure on and tugging them around the ring, or holding their heads at a funny angle when they're walking around. It does detract a bit from the animal, and not to mention that we probably don't need to do it to them in general. Another tip for the other paraders coming into the ring, we'll see who's actually listening to these comments, is I've done the last two classes exactly the same, and this third class has been no exception. Certainly judges can change up their ring craft from class to class, but rest assured they will tell you. So have a look at the previous classes, have a look at what your fellow competitors are doing in the ring, and if you've watched them, don't try and do something else. A few of the paraders walked up to me in that line, and some stopped, some walked right up to me, so their animal was nearly sniffing me. Again, just keep an eye on what's going on in the previous classes in your own class, and keep it the same unless a judge specifically tells you to change it up. But again, look, those comments certainly aren't detracting from the quality in this class. I just do like to give a few tips as to maybe why some of the other paraders haven't ended up in the top line. Thank you.
Just another escapee. Right, looks like this is our last heat in the 14 to 15-year-olds. Any more 14 to 15-year-olds, if you're not in there now, you've missed out. Oh, it looks like we've reached a result in the 13 and under age group. I'll hand over now to our judge again, Casey Phillips.
Thank you. It blows me away that these children are only 13 years and under. The presentation here has been very impressive. It's made my job very difficult. But I was looking for the all-round parader, somebody that I just couldn't fault, and I hadn't found it until this young lady come in the third heat. She decided to be brave and lead out the heat, and her and her animal just flew along. They just gelled, and I was really pleased to see that. Something I was also looking for, as I called the individuals out one at a time, and perhaps you've not heard this before or don't understand why a judge does this, but they're looking at your animal structure when they call you out one at a time. And so they want you walking directly towards them so that they can look at your front legs. And then if you've got the space in the ring, walking directly away. And that's what's put some children down here today is I was really looking forward to someone walking directly towards me and actually making me move, literally run the judge over. They'll move. And I believe the people in my top line did that. This young lady, she did that. She was happy to be here the whole time. She just gelled with this animal well. And then right towards the animal, and the animal decided to start being difficult. She was also well attired in good safe boots and nice white jeans, and which brought dignity to the event. Taking nothing away from this young lady in second, she had her animal standing correctly all the time, and again, like I said, she walked directly towards me and directly away, and as she walked away, she was looking over her shoulder as she's doing now, making sure that I can't ignore that animal, which is what I want. It's not about you. You're not trying to show yourself off. You're trying to show your animal off, which is what's put some people down the line as well. Just little times I've looked around and the beast wasn't standing the best. Perhaps it was square, but it was a little too stretched. And our job here as parade is to have that animal looking its best. Moving into third position, this young lady, she did a good job. A few times I noticed her animal could have been stood a little bit better, and that's what's put her down into third place. And congratulations to fourth and fifth, as well as everybody in the back line. Like I said, you've all done a wonderful job. There was just little moments when you weren't looking at me, or you didn't have your animal's head as high as it could have, or like I said, you didn't walk directly to me. But yes, credit to you all, and especially for those people, even in the heats that were left down towards the back, you didn't lose your composure, and that's something to be very proud of, because guess what? We're here to show off our animals, and the judge is only one person and one opinion on the day. You don't know how many buyers are sitting in the crowd and looking at that animal, so keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Casey. The result of that class, the 13 and 13 years and under, first place went to Olivia Tomlinson, and Olivia's from Boona. That's in Queensland. Second to Addison Dodson, and she attends Fairholme College, I believe, but I've got a sneaking suspicion she might originate from Banana. Third placing to Jess Towner, and she's from Lismore. That's nearly in Queensland. And then we had two highly commended, Jackson Dodson from Banana and Ella Cannon from Marburg. Right, 18 to 24-year-olds, you'll be judged in this ring one next. And I think the judge might just have 5 minutes of a break there. So 18 to 24-year-olds, you'll be judged in ring 1, where the 13 years and under have just vacated. Now, a little bit more story in ring 2 with the 14 to 15-year-olds. Over to you, Kim.
Thank you. The very last heat of this very talented and difficult to judge age group. Some exceptional paraders that we've got out there today. My top 5 in this class, again, similar to other classes, walked out beautifully, always had their eye on me. They stood those animals up to the best of their ability at all times, and didn't do too many things wrong. I will say, in each heat I've pulled these paraders out in no order in particular. So if you're pulled out last in any particular heat, please don't think you don't have a shot going into the final. I did that deliberately sometimes. But again, to those paraders up the back line today, just little bits and pieces, and that comes with experience in terms of knowing how to hold the halter, knowing how to stand up those animals to make sure they're not too stretched or too short and underneath themselves. And a lot of that does come with time and knowledge of how to parade animals. So congratulations to everyone once again, and I'm very much looking forward to judging the final.
Thank you very much, Kim. Those finalists will be parading in just a moment. All right, the 18 to 24-year-olds about to start and parade now in the number 1 ring. Yeah, no worry. Yeah, do you think they'd hear me for there now? Yeah, we're just trying to get our volumes right and even put the speakers on out there in the stand. We've had a few complaints that people weren't able to hear us down on the right-hand side in particular, but we've got patched through to the main ring now, so that makes our volume a lot better. Now, yes, now just be careful there now. That JBS truck is about to make its way in down that alleyway, if it can fit. So just watch what's happening there, because that will come down and go around the track, the harness racing track, round towards the marshalling yard area. Pretty tight fit there, but he's got through there. We had to bring it through that way because it's too high to get under the marshalling yard overpass or underpass, I should say. Right, for her comments on the first heat of the 18 to 24-year-olds now, Casey Phillips.
Once again, I'm going to be a bit vague so as to not give too much away, but I think it's important to be very aware in the livestock industry, very aware of ourselves and very aware of the livestock that we're working with. Part of this awareness is knowing and paying attention to how the ring is run, which is something that I heard Kim mention earlier. If you're in the third heat and the heats have all been run the same and then you proceed to do something differently, it's probably not going to reflect terribly well. So, yes, I'd like to congratulate the people in the front line here. They, yes, followed the program of the ring very well. They've stood their animals up well, and they're very well presented, and I look forward to seeing them again in the final and critiquing them further.
Thank you very much, Casey. Just a note to our 16 to 18-year-old young paraders, you'll be judged in ring 2. That's the one that's being used there by the 14 and 15-year-olds at the moment. We'll be getting a result of that one very shortly. But the 16 to 18-year-olds, you'll be parading in ring 2. Right, for her comments now on her selections in the 14 to 15 year age group, our judge again, Kim Groner.
Thank you. Before I'd start, and I know this microphone isn't going all over the ring at the moment, but for the people that can hear me, or is it working everywhere now? It's working everywhere now. Oh, good. Can hear my own voice. That's always fun. But look, can we give these young paraders in this age group a very, very big round of applause? I don't always take quite this long to judge a championship class, I don't think, but it's one of those situations where it was such an impressive age group that I ended up pulling about 5 from each heat, which meant I had 20 out here in the championship, and that's where you kick yourself and go, oh my gosh, why didn't I pull out 3 or 4 from each heat? But look, everyone out here, I think, well and truly deserved to be in this championship lineup. It was extremely tough. Their parading skills were very, very similar in style. They did a great job showing their animals off, and if you haven't made it up to this top line, please don't be discouraged. Speaking from a personal standpoint, there are sometimes in the ring that you just don't have it for whatever reason. I know I've looked back on many photos that some of the professional photographers have taken while I've been in the ring, and I think you're standing that animal like an absolute donkey. What were you thinking? So we don't always have our best days, and certainly if you're in the back, you could well end up in the front the next day, and it is also my opinion on the day. So to the people that made it to the top lineup, I will start off with my first place getter in this class. A very, very polished parader. She's got an animal that she looks like she's really gelled with. I realise that a lot of these animals, maybe some of the leaders are leading only for the first or second time, but she did a tremendous job leading that animal around. She always had her eye on me. She stood that animal up to the best of her ability. When I walked around that animal, she moved its feet at an appropriate time, so I could always see it to its best advantage. When I swapped to the other side, she swapped those feet round, so the animal always looked incredibly balanced and profiled. And I couldn't really pick any holes in her to move her any further down today, so congratulations. The young lady that's come in second, or reserve champion, I should say, since it is a championship lineup, again, when she came into the ring in her heat, she caught my eye straight away. She has a presence and a look about her that just says, I really want to be out here, I really want to win, and she's holding that animal's head nice and high in the air, like she just really wants to show it off. I suppose when I was getting down to it in the final lineup, and I was walking around and staring them all down, she did get a little bit boxed in at one stage between her and the animal at the front of her. I would suggest that you just move your animal around if you can, so that I can see them as best as possible. We are showing these animals off, remember, at the end of the day, not just ourselves, but again, a really, really polished parader. Her gear was nice and tidy. She was definitely happy to be out there, and well deserving of the reserve champion. The young man in third place, clearly a really polished parader, and I kept eyeballing him because I think on any other day he probably could have made it into first place as well. He had a bit more of a forward-moving heifer, I'd say, and you do need to sometimes compensate by either slowing him down a little bit with the cane or putting a bit more pressure on that nose dog. And I just felt a couple of times that heifer probably didn't present herself quite as well with a little bit more pressure on the nose dog. But look, he got that animal standing up really well. I did eyeball him a little bit in the final lineup when I was deciding how to go with my placings. And under pressure, he did probably move that animal around a little bit more than I would have liked. Remember, sometimes near enough is good enough if a judge is really trying to look at your animal. But look, he was a really, really tidy parader, and again, on any other day, certainly would have been in the top few. As we get down to the highly commendeds in the class, two girls that have again done an incredible job with both their animals. They were two paraders that were very, very cool, calm and relaxed the whole time. The young lady with the Charolais heifer, again similar to the paraders on top of her, was keeping an eye on me the whole way around. She stood that animal incredibly balanced. She swapped those feet round when I swapped from side to side, trying to put a little bit more pressure on her. She talked to her animal the whole way round, so she stayed nice and calm, and just overall a really tidy parader. Just a few times when I move back and forth in front of her, perhaps just stay more to the side of your animal. Don't block it too much from the head end. I think you got a bit crisscrossed which side to stand on that animal. But again, a fantastic parader. And the young lady that we've got with a highly commended ribbon as well, a tremendous job with this really big black bull. You wouldn't know that he's as big as he is when she leads him. She really glides around the ring with him. Had him standing pretty well for the most part, just maybe had those back feet a little bit too close together a couple times when I looked at her, but she was certainly a contender for one of the higher placings throughout the day. Again, a massive congratulations to everyone that's been out here today. It really was splitting hairs when it came down to it sometimes in the championship placings, and I'm sure you'll be up here very, very soon. If not, you probably already have been. So thank you once again, and best of luck to those going through to the championship.
Thank you very much, Kim. The result of the 14 to 15-year-old age group. First placing went to Ruby Rogan from Inverell. I think that's down over the border somewhere, isn't it? Second place to Annabelle Dean, and she's from Casino. And they wish they were in Queensland too, but they're not, unfortunately. Third to Fletcher Skillington. He's from Queensland, Dalveen. Fourth, highly commended Amelia Lawrence from Emerald, and that's certainly in Queensland. And also Ruby Patterson, and she's from Warwick. Right, we're ready to go over here in the 18 to 24-year age group and back over to Casey Phillips.
I'm not going to lie, judging this class is a challenge. The young people in this age group are no doubt already working in the industry, and if not, they're hoping to be. They've spent years developing their style, and perhaps that's not my style today, and that might be why you're down further in the line. I'm not an exaggerated parader. I like to see the animal shown off to the best of its ability, and that's why I've put these four up to come back for the finals, and I'll comment on them further shortly.
Thank you very much, Casey. I think we're ready to get underway over here in the 16 to 18-year age group now. And our judge in that age group will be Leanne Ridley. Leanne has had a wealth of experience right throughout her life in judging cattle. She was tied up with the Shorthorn youth group in her younger days, and she's moved up here. She saw the light, moved up to Queensland, and she and her husband Neil Paholke run the Sunny Lawn Bradford stud at Clifton, a 60 head breeding herd, or 60 head breeding herd, and that's combined with a mixed farming operation and also a bull fitting service for fitting bulls for sale and show. I've just got to get my age groups correct. The class being judged in the number 2 ring are the 16 and 17-year-olds, and then we've got the 18 to 24-year-olds in ring 1. That's the final, right-o. So the result now of the 18 to 24-year age group final judging. We'll ask Casey Phillips for her comments again.
Thank you. This young man in first position, he just had a real presence in the ring. I couldn't look past him. The way he moved with that animal, the way he handled his leads and used his cane to get her to walk out and show off to the best of ability. He stood her up quickly and well when I asked him to. He was my clear winner here today. In second position, taking nothing away from this young lady, she did an exceptional job in her first heat and really stood out to me again, using that halter to stand her animals just seamlessly. Is what got her up into second position. I think her animal just might have had enough here in this final. It isn't quite behaving as well as she'd hoped, and yeah, she just couldn't get it stood up when I was looking a few times, which is what's put us down into second position. And the young man in third, he had a spicy little heifer who challenged him in the heat, but he kept calm and he's presented her very well, stood her well all the time. He just didn't quite have the presence and the eye appeal of the two above him, but I'd like to congratulate him and hope he keeps pursuing this field of exhibiting stud beef cattle. Congratulations also to everybody in the back line on a different day with a different animal. I have no doubt that you've placed up in championships and will continue to do so. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you very much, Casey. I'll get it right in a minute. The result. First placing to Dean Weller. Drew Weller, I should say, from Westmar. Drew Weller from Westmar, that's in Queensland. Second to Charlotte Dendy. She's come from New South Wales for sure, Wagga Wagga. And third to Cameron Dutton, and he's from the station Angus, which is down there in Victoria. So they're trying to raid us, but they didn't get away with a win in that class. If we can have our two first place getters from those heats, or from those Age groups of 13 years and under paraders, Olivia Tomlinson. Olivia, if you could come up to the tent, and also Ruby Rogan from the 14 and 15-year-olds. So Olivia Tomlinson and Ruby Rogan, if you could come up to the tent, please. Yeah, there'll be a third one too. We've had a... Right, now Leanne Ridley, our judge in this, what's this, 17, 18, 18 to... 16 to 17, I'll get it right in a moment, Leanne, to give us her comments.
Thank you very much, Keith. First off, I'd just quickly like to thank the R&A for the invitation to come back again this year. I judged the school paraders last year, and it's a real privilege to come back and assess and share a bit of knowledge that I have gained over the years, and also appreciate how much you have really become great young individuals in developing in the beef industry, and how you want to parade your cattle and just be involved. Some are here a higher calibre and others are learning, and I walk around. I do try every paraders competition I do actually walk past and talk to each individual to actually maybe give that little pointer. I just feel that if you walk out of the ring and you haven't gained anything from the experience, I'm not sure what the competition is about. It's not affecting my decisions down the track. I just really want you to learn and grow and get your confidence in these competitions. So a few tips I have said, like they're very, very professional in how they walk to me and away from me, but in some safety situations, if I ask you to sort of to turn away quicker, please just listen. I love how you have stood your animals up. There's a fair few maybe lack that glancing back over that shoulder when you're walking away. As been commented earlier by Casey and Kim, you know, don't overwork those cattle when the judges are coming around. Try and just have them as close or near enough is good enough at that stage, because we do want to be able to see and not you overwork them. I think you probably can see I chose 5. I know that's a lot to go into the final, but I think the calibre of these 5 really outstand what I'm looking for here today. I call it the cool, calm, quiet approach to parading. Having that animal set up properly all the time, knowing the balance point of your animals and being able to do a lot of that work on your halter is really important. I think these 5 pretty well nailed that. So thank you. And congratulations to all of you in this heat, and go away, keep practicing and just enjoying the beef industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. Right, the Queensland Championship State Finals. These are the competitors who have qualified through your various sub-chambers. Ryan Gould, Jess Walters, Lucy Sedgman, Grace Muller, Caitlin Barber, Danny Gould, Naomi Godfrey, Clancy Dool, Mackenzie Sampson, Annika Hansen, I'll get that right in a moment, and Brooke Parlane. Those 11 competitors, if you'd like to come up here and get your numbers tagged on up to the tent. That's the Queensland Ag Show's state final young paraders. Right, now, young judges for grain. Young judges for grain will be setting up over in Ring 4. That's the one over on the O'Connell Terrace side of the ground. Ring 4 will be setting up over there. And that will get underway. What time did you say, Alex? 3 o'clock. So young grain judges. Ring 4, that's over there where the Santas are normally judged. Where we judged the lead steers yesterday from 3 o'clock. And just a reminder to our young grain judges, that'll be judged over in ring 4. That's the ring that we used for the lead steers yesterday, ring 4. That's over on the Gregory Terrace side of the ground. Right, Leanne Ridley with her comments on this. This is still a heat, Leanne, I think, is it?
Sure is, Keith. But we're ploughing through them, and I just again like to congratulate this this group of paraders. You've done an amazing job, and I just walked around each time and give you one little tip. There is a fair few in here. I've got to have a pretty good memory. But once again, it all comes down to basically let's try and get those boots on our feet, not ropers, lace-ons, slip-ons, etc. Also, when you come to me and walk away from me, that is a really crucial part for your judge to actually be able to look at that animal structure. Remember, your job out here, it's a parading competition, but it's more important, your job is to present your animal. The animal needs to be shown off to that judge with ease, so the job can get done. It also is your job to make the ring work well, which is doing quite an amazing job with so many exhibits in a class. It gets really hard to keep that that space around you that you're encouraged to keep. You have done that really well in this, and keep up your rows. A couple of things about leading and having that eye of your animal balanced with the top of your hip or tail. That's a really good point of reference as to how you can know whether your head's too low, too high. Also, I spoke to someone, also know your animals at what speed to be able to walk those animals. Big bulls, if you walk them too fast, or they might be better walked fast. It all comes into your control and your job to know your cattle. I just felt these top 5 I pulled out on top, probably put the whole package together with what I'm looking for here, but I hope everyone takes on board those few little tips and keeps watching and learning and growing with your experience. Thanks very much for letting me assess you guys.
Thank you, Leanne. Yep, the state finalists, if you could marshal up down towards the members' stand end of that number 1 ring that we've been using today. That's on the, as I look at it, the left-hand side from the main tent. So state young paraders, if you could start and marshal up, we'll be able to get you underway very shortly. Just a reminder to those young grain judges, we get people coming up here to this tent. Young grain judges are judged over in ring 4, which is the ring which was used yesterday for the lead steers. It's the one over on the Gregory Terrace side of the main oval. So the young grain judges, that'll be getting underway in about 10 minutes' time over in ring 4. Just a reminder to those young judges, state finalists, are they there? No, we're waiting for you to marshal up over near the members stand end of ring 1, please. State finalists with your cattle. Over towards the members stand end. I see one heading into the ring and nowhere near the members stand end. So state young judges finalists, if you'd move up. Still waiting on about 3 of those state young judges finalists. Should be 3 more. I think we've got 8 of them down there. There's another one coming. Oh, well, that's me one mistake for the show. I'm allowed one a year, I'm told. So I'm in trouble from here on in. Young Paraders. I think I said young judges. It's the Young Paraders, the state Young Paraders finalists. It's state final of the Young Paraders competition, just getting underway. Our judge there is Stephanie Laycock. Stephanie from the High Country Droughtmaster Stud up there at Esk in the Brisbane Valley. She came through the Young Judges and Young Paraders competitions over the years, over many, many years, and she's very much involved in these youth organisations or youth competitions around the various shows. So welcome to our judging ring, Stephanie. Final call for young grain judges, particularly Bowraville Central School. Young grain judges. It's being conducted over there in that Gregory Terrace ring where the lead steers were judged yesterday. So young grain judges over there immediately. Right, we've got a list of our competitors now for their Queensland Ag Shows. Queensland Final Championship. The competitors are Ryan Gould, representing the Burnett Subchamber. Ryan's from Gayndah. Jess Walters represents the Central Highlands Subchamber, and she came through the Comet Show. Lucy Sedgman, Central Queensland Subchamber from Wowan Show Society. Grace Muller represents the Darling Downs, and Grace was successful at the Allora Show. Caitlin Barber was our Ekka winner last year, so she represents the Ekka. Danny Gould represents the Near North Coast Subchamber, and Danny was successful at the Gympie Show. Naomi Godfrey from North Queensland Subchamber, and Naomi is from Malanda. Clancy Dool represents the South Burnett, and she was successful at the Blackbutt Show. Mackenzie Sampson represents the Southeast Queensland Subchamber. Not sure which show she came from, but that doesn't matter, I don't suppose. Southeast Queensland, it'll do. From the Southwest Queensland Subchamber, Annika Hansen, and she was successful at the Chinchilla Show. And last but not least, Brooke Parlane, representing the Westmoreton and Brisbane Valley Subchamber. And Brooke was successful at the Lowood Show. Right, now Leanne's ready to give us a bit more summary on her next heat.
Thank you very much. Another really strong heat, very capable paraders out here. As I said to each and every one of you, it's always really difficult for a judge to actually, when you get into this calibre of competition. So keep up the good work. I've given you little tips as we go along. I think my top 5 I'm very impressed with, that they can put it all together. We've got to remember the animal is our priority out here in a paraders competition, and I know we can get a little distracted and things, or we get feel like we're under pressure. I think what we've got to do is remain in that calm and just get that animal to stay and be presented to their 100%. And whether that is on a profile squared up, depending where the judge is, the balance of that animal, being able to pull these animals up with those front feet together to get that natural balance in them if they've got it. Also knowing your animal if they have any issues that you need to try and hide, whether that's how you stand them or the speed you walk them. But you have really done a tremendous job. Your ring craft, I think, in this heat has been one of the best. You've watched, you've learnt, you've kept your rows, and you've done everything in a very synchronised way, which also is a job of a parader to make this ring look professional. So you have all completed that. So well done and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. This looks like it'll be the last heat, is it, of our 16 and 17-year-olds? Right, for her comments on her final heat now, and we're going to get a final to come up very shortly, but for her comments, Leanne Ridley.
Thanks very much, Keith. Even though a smaller heat, still the same quality and consistency that has come through all the heats today. I've individually spoken to all. That's what I just do when I do a paraders. And as I said, I have decided to go with only 2 out of this. Otherwise, I really had to go another 3. There's another 3 that I've told them that would have been up in probably a stronger heat, as in a more numbered heat. Great control of those leads, how you balance your animal out, understanding your animals. Also, your ring craft, as in allowing enough space, knowing when to turn, when to just wait for the judge. A couple of times, as I think Casey said, you know, near enough is good enough when that judge is there trying to look at that animal. Unless there's a major problem, just leave them, let them settle and fix it up when we just slightly walk away. We will always glance back as a judge if we're really interested in that animal. So congratulations to all of you, and I hope you keep enjoying the rest of your Ekka experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. And so now those top picks out of those, what do you have, 4 or 5 heats? They'll come forward now for the final of that 15 and 16-year-old age group. No, 16 and 17 age group. We'll get a result in a moment from our state Queensland Ag Show state champion young parader in just a moment. Right, okay, I'll hand over to our judge now in our Queensland Ag Show's Young Judges State Final. Over to our judge, Stephanie Laycock.
Good afternoon, everybody. Before I get started here this afternoon, I would like to thank Queensland Ag Shows for inviting me along to judge the state final competition here for the young paraders, as well as to the RNA for hosting this event today. Congratulations to all of our competitors who have made it down to this event. I know it takes a lot of work to get yourselves down here for this event and to get your cattle looking as well as they are. So it is an absolute credit to all of you today for the amount of preparation that you have put into this competition. Today, when I'm looking for a parader, at the end of the day, I'm looking for the person that is showing me off that animal to the best of their ability. While, yes, I am judging you as a parader, I'm judging your ability to show that animal off to me. In a normal class, you would be showing that animal off to potential prospective buyers on the outside, as well as trying to get that judge to pick your animal. So you really need to match your skill set to how you can best show that animal off. A few things that I'm always looking for are an extension in a leader. I need to be able to see every side of that animal. If I walk past and I can't see its head or its legs, it's going to affect my ability to be able to look at that animal fully. So I'm really looking for that. I'm looking for someone that's calm, has made sure that they're well presented, their animal's well presented, and that they are really doing the best that they can while still keeping nice and calm. So we are going to get into a result here. So for our reserve champion parader, I have gone for competitor 8. As we went along here today, I felt that she was doing the best to stand that bull up profile. As I was walking around him towards the end, I thought that her gear was immaculate. That bull was presented beautifully. There was a couple of times there earlier on where I thought he could have been just a touch tidier in his stance, but as we went on, she got better and better with standing up that bull. A super calm parader. Again, I love the extension. When they walked towards me, I could see every aspect of that bull just about ran me over, which is exactly what you want to see. And when I asked everybody about their animals, there was actually a fair few that you listed off everything, but you forgot to tell me how old your animal was. So it's really good if you do know all of that information, but if you don't tell me how old your animal is when I'm judging in a lead class, it's a pretty important piece of information, and she ticked all those boxes, and that's what got her into the reserve champion position here today. And for our champion today, I have gone with competitor number 1. Now, I will say, towards the end of the class, this competitor, his animal did get was a little bit upset, a bit closer to the edge and to action what was happening, but that parader matched exactly what he was doing to that animal, to that. He matched his skill level to that animal, and he may not have had her absolutely perfect, but he got her calm, got her back in position. Every time that animal went to move out of the way, he still was correct, calm, made sure he had her stood up to the best of his ability. No matter whether she moved, he always moved her out in the right way as well. And I really love the lead control on this parader. Again, he's very calm. That extension was beautiful. Again, when we were doing the walk towards me, he was the one that was probably the closest to walking me over, and that is exactly what we want to see. When you're walking towards the judge is trying to look at that animal's walk and how that animal is tracking, and so you really want to make sure that you walk directly to the judge. And overall, I just felt that if I was looking for someone to get the most out of an animal of mine in the ring, that this is the parader that I would get to do so. So again, congratulations to you all today, and thank you for coming along. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Our champion young parader for Queensland this year, Queensland Ag Show's champion young parader is Ryan Gould. Ryan represented the Burnett Subchamber. Ryan comes from Gayndah. And our reserve champion is Clancy Dool from the South Burnett Subchamber, and Clancy qualified through the Blackbutt Show. So a big congratulations to those two young paraders and to all the rest of our qualifiers too. You've done a tremendous job to get up here representing your various subchambers. So congratulations. To comment on her selections now in this 16-17 year age group, our judge again, Leanne Ridley.
Thank you very much, Keith. If everyone could put their hands together if you're left around the ring and congratulate. I really believe this is a really high standard in a final, which they all have been today. I never actually touched an animal till I was 16 years of age, so I'm really feeling it out here, as in I had no capabilities when I started. I actually didn't like cattle until 16, until my sister left home and Dad said, "Are you going to have a go?" Well, then it was just life flowed on, and I was given so many opportunities through the cattle industry. Your calibre, your professionalism, your ring craft, everything. There could be 15, 20 winners on these heats and classes. So really take away and be proud of everyone that's made this final here today. When it come down to it, I suppose I had a young girl picked out, and I just I've gone up to her at the end, and I've put a 6th here today. Just that animal started to fall away at the end of the class, and she just couldn't keep it together. There's a few animals out here that are not easy to lead, and that is why they're up here. I suppose I really appreciate young paraders, or any paraders that can actually work with cattle that aren't push button. When they get tired, they get pushy, or they're just that little bit jittery. And I think there's a few up here that have done well. Structural faults, there's one girl here done an amazing job to cover some structural faults in her bull, and every time I turned around, that animal was looking amazing. In first place here today, the young girl on top. It's one of those ones that I nearly overlooked, and that is why the beauty of it is because she never actually really stood out to me, but that every time I turned around and looked at that heifer, she was so balanced. Excuse me, so balanced, so calm, and she just really kept her line in those rows and really presented that heifer to the best. She's balanced, she walks in time, and she knows how to pull that animal up with those front feet together. So congratulations, and be very proud of your efforts here today. In second place, a very similar style, I suppose. Again, I left her standing out the back there. Some people don't like being left behind. We're all a bit like that, but that's okay. She never stopped. That animal still looked 100%, even though I'd pulled up those top 5, and I had to go back and give her that chance. And as you see, when they walk around, she walks that animal. She steps beautifully in balance with that animal. She's got it going fast enough without running too fast. And I just really like the overall, as I call it, the cool, calm, collected approach to that. So congratulations on that. As we go down the line here, a young fella who has not lost his patience at all. I'm sure he will at the back of the sheds. But this bull has not been happy, hasn't settled, but he's continuously done that calm loop around and got him to eventually settle down. Professional parader, knows how to do it, and I just put him into third because he has persevered with an animal that is getting very tired of being out here. So well done and congratulations. The young girl in fourth place, this was the animal I said that it can really fall away, fall apart a little bit, not being critical of the animal, but just she knew there was an issue there, and she's always had him presented beautifully. The back legs had to be kept apart to make him look popped, and she did that every time I looked back. So congratulations on that, and that's why you got up into fourth, of how you actually focused on your animal. So well done. Young fella here in fifth, he's taken a lot on board from me. I said to him when he first came out, he really had that bull rocking and bouncing, and I just said, get to know your animal. He doesn't need a bit of high speed, and he's got him really going well. And every time he walked him out and into that line, he balanced him. He had him on profile when he needed to be, and he showed the true muscle expression through that bull, and that was his main attribute. So well done on that. And as I said, the young girl here, a beautiful parader, presented herself well, tremendously. That animal just started to fall apart, and she just couldn't keep her together for me. But I've said to her, she knows she's got the capabilities. And congratulations. And to all of you left standing here, thank you for the privilege to assess you. And I hope you take away some fun from the experience, but also a little bit more knowledge and experience. Thank you.
The result of that class, ladies and gentlemen, first place went to Natalie Mulcahy. Natalie is from Warwick in Queensland. Second to Isla Van Mangerson, and Isla's from Kempsey in New South Wales. Third place went to Rocky Fay from Copmanhurst down in New South Wales. And highly commended Abby Schofield from Kilcoy, Will van der Zanden from Helidon, and Grace Newcomb from Tamworth. That's the result of that 16 and 17 year age group. So we will now have 4 competitors, the 4 class winners, will come forward for the judging of our champion young parader for ECA 2026.
I'll tell you something when I get back.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunya Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunya Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational
who haven't quite made it here today. It's a fantastic effort to even to get to the finals, and we're sure that you'll be up in this place before too long. Congratulations, everybody.
And our champion young parader for 2026 is Drew Weller. And Drew is from Westmar, and so he'll be representing the Ekka in the Ag Shows Queensland Championship next year. And we have our councillor, Anna Ahern, to present the championship sash. Don't hang him, Paul. No, she's there. Right, that completes our young paraders competition. And of course, we also had the young judges here this morning, but our young paraders all completed now. Congratulations to our winners again, and thank you very much to our judges for your efforts here. It's been a big job to sort out these young paraders. There were so many of them. I don't know, there was 2 classes of over 80. So that's been a very big job. So congratulations and well done.
The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull Sale will offer 65 industry-relevant Limousin and Angus bulls at the Coolabunga Sale Yards, August 15th. Semen and morphology tested, fully vaccinated, a bull for everyone. Contact your preferred GDL agent. The Gender View Invitational Bull